Did Ryan Poles put the Chicago Bears coaching staff on notice, get it together, or get out? Let's talk about it, starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Listen, this is a interesting pivot in Ryan Poles' normal demeanor. What we heard from him Sunday before the Bears game where they go out and beat the Arizona Cardinals. There was a little bit of a change from what we've heard when he was asked about some issues that may have come up with the coaching staff, some different things that have happened throughout the season, right? And, you know, what is the biggest problem that this coaching staff has, basically? And Ryan Poles came out and talked to it, and this is via Peggy Kaczynski, who, of course, hosts the post-game show on ESPN Chicago with John Yurkovich. Talked about Chicago Bears GM tells ESPN 1000 pregame show the team needs to learn to finish and the coaches need to clean up the details. He also kind of referring to the 3 games that the Bears have lost, right? Where, I mean, historic at this point, right? A 2-touchdown, 2-turnover lead going into the fourth quarter, and the Chicago Bears have found a way to lose all 3 of those games. And now all of a sudden, right, we're starting to see Ryan Poles kind of do the, hey, listen, at this point, I've kind of had enough of talking about and going back to development, talking about, you know, ironing out the details. And he even spoke on a little bit of, at this point in the season, we've got 2 weeks left in the season and we're still having this conversation. This is not something that is new. We've got 2 weeks left in the season and we're talking about things that we were talking about in week 4 of the season when we played the Denver Broncos, right? And he focused in on the coaching staff and basically was like, you know, we've got to get better and the coaches need to focus in on the details. We're still going back to the details, going back to the drawing board. And that to me is such a stark difference from, if you remember, what, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, when asked about Matt Eberflus, right, he felt he needed to come out and say something in defense of Matt Eberflus. He were basically, listen, you know, he's working through some things. We've got this issue going on. The DC ends up getting stepping down. We've got another coach that ends up stepping down. There's a ton of things going on. I need to come out and speak. I need to be the one to talk to the people here. And he kind of was very much in defense of Matt Eberflus, right? He was very standing by his side, glowing report. Now, I am also one who looks at that and says, what's he supposed to say in that situation, right? Is he supposed to come out with a half a season to go and go, nah, this coach sucks. I'm sick of him. Let's get him out of here. Never expected Ryan Poles to do anything like that. But what I do think is interesting is as we're getting closer to the end of the season, we see these comments come out. We see him talking about how coaches need to pay attention to the details. We see him talking about, you know, how we're still talking about the same conversations that we're having in week 4. Okay, now, right, as we're getting closer to the end of the season, he's more open about these things, and it feels like we're starting to see a little bit of that shift come in, and we could be talking about the end of this coaching staff as a whole. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Do you believe that this is Ryan Poles distancing himself or calling out his coaching staff? I think that for me personally, I look at this as you guys got to get it together. You got to get out. And I think it's too late for the get it together part because, again, even versus the Cardinals, when you look at that Cardinals game, what changed? Right? The first half, we go out there, we're dominating offensively, boom, we're doing it. And then the second half, offensively frustrated. Justin Fields is yelling at Luke Getsy. You went to what just looked like a shell of the game plan that you had in the first half. It looked like we've got 21 points. We're up big. What was it, 21-7 at the half, I think, or 21-10, whatever it was. And we're fine with that. We're going to be able to get out of this game with that. The only reason you were able to get out of this game, because the Cardinals were coming down and they were driving, the only reason you were able to get out of the game with that is because of how putrid the Cardinals are. They are a horrible, horrible football team. Like it's on purpose, right? Like they pulled the rug out. They're doing it on purpose. They're doing what the Bears did last year. They're bad. But I look at that Cardinals game, and even in a game where you're winning, we're seeing the same issues pop up. Even in a game where you win at the end of the game, we're seeing the same, to me, dumb offensive play calls where you're trying to get cute. You're trying to get tricky. You're trying to, right? We could put Roshan Johnson in the Wildcat instead of just running the football up the middle. Again, doing simple, difficult. That is what the theme of this Bears team is to me. And I think that when you look at everything that this team needs to improve upon, we've been talking about it the entire year. There's nothing that's changed. There's nothing that's different. There's nothing that is moving in the right direction as far as a mentality of the team. I think that we have more talent on the team. I think that we have better players on the team. And so you're going to see more wins because of that. I think that we have a team that goes out there and wants to compete. I like that, right? And I think that was something that it didn't feel like this team had the first 3 weeks. But I think that talent-wise on the field, you've taken the right steps. The issue for me is the mentality that your team has, the mentality that your team goes out in, right? You're up big versus Detroit. We did enough. You lose the game. You're up big versus Denver, up 3 touchdowns versus Denver. We did enough. You're all of a sudden, right? It's just this pack it in. We're good. We're not going to keep our foot on the gas. We're not going to keep going. We're not going to, it's none of that. And we talk about that even in the games they win. They beat the Commanders. Same thing popped up. They beat the Cardinals. Same thing pops up, right? Like, to me, that's why Ryan Poles is having this conversation now about, okay, we need to pay more attention to the details. We need to pay more attention to, and we shouldn't still be talking about the same things this late in the season. And so for me, right, when I saw Ryan Poles' comments and when I listened to him on the post-game show, right, like, this was a direct shot at Matt Eberflus. This is a direct shot at Luke Getsy, right? You guys still don't know how to finish. You guys still are talking about going back to the drawing board and getting into our fundamentals. You're still talking about we need to go back and look at our fundamentals. No, you should have the fundamentals down now. They're fundamental in you being good. This should not be something that we lose week in and week out. And every second half, every single week. Like, and I think, again, right, like, when I heard Ryan Poles' comments, to me, I took it as this is kind of the, okay, you guys are going to know what's coming. This is not going to be a shock to anyone when at the end of the season, I think that we're talking about Matt Eberflus on Black Monday, right? And I think the worst part about all of it is, for Matt Eberflus, I should say, maybe not for Bears fans, the conversation around the coaches that aren't here is becoming even louder, right? Jim Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, right? Every time one of these names is brought up, boom, I'm in. All right, yeah, we're going to be talking to him, right? Doesn't mean that we're going to be able to hire him or we're going to trade for him, but we're going to at least be talking to him. We hear that about every big name coach that has come up. To me, right, the Mike Tomlin report, the biggest thing I took away from it was that it tells me that if you're willing to be in on a trade and trade for a head coach, Matt Eberflus is done. And I thought Matt Eberflus saved his job. I thought he did a good job as a DC. I thought he's been a good DC. I think the defense is moving in the right direction. Do you want to switch play callers on that? That part I don't know. But what I will say is that as a head coach, I don't like what I see. What I will say is that in 2 years of this, I feel like we're having the same conversations. Yes, we're winning more games, but in 2 years of this, I feel like we're saying the exact same things. We're saying, hey, listen, boom, not finishing the game strong. Randomly, right? Like Luke Getsy's out there calling an offense. It's like he's not paying attention to things that have happened in the game. Calls a screen pass on the next drive right after DJ Moore gets hurt. Guess who's catching the screen? Darnell Mooney on that. Guess who's blocking for the screen? DJ Moore, right? Matt Eberflus, I'm looking at you. You're supposed to be learning from the things that you did in the week before that got you killed, right? Did you learn? Well, I don't know. I saw you drop Justin Jones back in coverage yet again. Right, I saw Justin Jones trying to cover a tight end on another big play that ends up going up the left sideline, or not a tight end. It was that Dortch that catches the touchdown that ends up going up the left sideline on that. Right, Justin Jones is back in coverage. He's supposed to be playing man coverage on that guy. What? You know what I mean? We're having the same conversations in week 15 that we were having in week 4. And that to me tells me that the mindset of this team has not improved. And that is a major, major issue. But I do want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you think that Ryan Poles called out the coaching staff? Do you think that this means this coaching staff could be on the outs, man? Follow me on everything at Path of Design. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. If you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. As always, man, it's your boy Path of Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Peace.